Hi everyone, welcome to the July garden tour. The garden is lush, is really springing into life. I kind of feel like I got off to a slow start this year. We had such a cool and cloudy spring, and now we're finally getting full, sunny, warm days. So I'd love to show you around today, and we're gonna harvest some things along the way. Now I'm standing here underneath this tree with a sound I absolutely love to hear in the garden, and that is the bees. This tree has little flowers on it. I'm not even sure what kind of tree it is, but it is just buzzing with bees, which really helps my garden get pollinated and be more productive. So right here is the Veggie Paw. You guys might remember we split our large Veggie Paw apart into two different pieces to make a smaller size here to fit up against our fence. And I'm actually really surprised how well this lettuce is doing here in the heat of the summer. These are all varieties from my lettuce seed collection. One of my favorites, all-time favorites, is the prize head lettuce. It's absolutely beautiful and doing very well here. The red romaine is a gorgeous romaine lettuce. In fact, I'm gonna pick some of these right now, and I'm gonna pick using the cut and come again method, where I just pick the outer leaves, leave some of the inner leaves to continue growing and producing lettuce for our salads. This garden bed here does get a few hours of sun in the morning, but it actually does get some late afternoon sun. So these varieties are very heat tolerant and are doing great here in this little veggie pod. And I haven't even been keeping it shaded with the cover, but they're still doing fantastic. Here's some of the red brush and kale from the heat tolerant green collection, and here's some lettuce that's going to seed. So I'll leave that to flower. The bees love that, and we'll be collecting the seeds for future plantings. Let me just show you here this rosemary plant. I really do need to trim it back. So it's a little bit neglected, but we are just harvesting rosemary off it like crazy and using it on our chicken. We're using it in our drinks, putting it on fish. It just smells absolutely amazing out here.
I can smell it. It does smell so good and relaxing. It
is a very relaxing scent. Now right behind me, I'm actually gonna squeeze by our lawnmower here, excuse me guys, and show you guys the grapes. I haven't showed you these for a while. I did end up trimming these back a little bit because they were going crazy, going over the fence into the neighbor's yard. Never did get our trellis put up. So I'm sure you guys have some of those garden projects that you never quite seem to get to. The grapes is one of them for me. But look at these grapes. Look at those. Isn't that exciting, Jerry?
Yay.
I love these. Now, guys, I really have to come out here and cover this with some kind of netting. Because if you remember last year, the birds got all of our grapes. These are red flame seedless grapes. They look like they're actually starting to get a little bit ripe. So I really should come out here today and get these covered before we lose them all like we did last year.
I'm so excited about this. We have been trying for years to get grapes.
For years. So there are actually clusters all in here. Look at that. And look, oh my gosh, Jerry, look way back in there. These are almost ripe. I've got to pick one. I've got to pick one.
Right here.
I know they're not quite ready.
Totally unplanned.
I've got to pick one. I can't wait. I just can't wait. They're not quite ripe, but I don't care. I'm so excited. It's part of being a gardener, right?
Right.
Waiting is definitely the hardest part of gardening. Small little handful of grapes here. Let's try one. Wow, even though they're not ripe, they're really, really sweet. Here you go, Jerry. You gotta try it.
Oh my gosh, honey, we're eating grapes.
From our very own garden.
Oh my gosh, oops, so sorry, I'm bumping.
I grew this, guys. So now I'm gonna move on through the Rosemary Forest here, over near the strawberry crate towers. You guys saw the towers on my berry video this week. They're doing great in the heat. I've been keeping them covered with shade cloth. I just keep it clipped onto the back of the crate, and then I can just easily drape it over. So right here along the front of this garden bed, let me just tell you guys what I have going here. I started some seeds for a late summer garden. So we'll be doing a video on that in the next couple of weeks. And these are all seeds from my late summer garden seed collection. So if you want to follow along with me, definitely pick one of those up. These are all really fast growing vegetables, so that when some of my other crops die out, I'll have fresh, new, healthy vegetables to take their place. So I've got some squash. I think I even started a pumpkin. People were asking if I would grow pumpkins. This is a nice little compact pumpkin called Jack Be Little. And these aren't in my late summer garden seed collection, but I thought it would be fun to grow pumpkins for the fall. And then we've got in here some cucumbers, some zinnias, some little basil seedlings, and of course my favorite little tiny Tim tomato, a dwarf tomato that grows from seed to harvest very quickly, some chard, heat tolerant, and then I couldn't resist some more peppers, cucumbers, and I think I even got a cantaloupe in here. So definitely get some new seeds started so that you spread the harvest out and you still have harvest in the summer and into the fall. And I just started these right outside here in these little seed cells. My garden beds are full. Didn't want to bother with grow lights indoors, and they've grown absolutely beautifully. And then you don't have to worry about hardening them off because they're already used to growing outside. So I'll gradually pop these in my garden beds as they're ready. Now I want to go back up into this garden bed and explain a couple of the plants back up in here. Oh yeah, but before I do, remember on the June tour, I planted red Profusion Zinnias and white Profusion Zinnias all over my garden. They're starting to bloom, and man, are they beautiful. These flowers have taken the heat, haven't been shaded at all. They don't fade in the heat at all. They're absolutely beautiful. They're an All-America Selections winner, so you know that they are bound to be a great variety of flower. And I also popped in these Shasta Daisies right behind here. I love the pop of color, the red, the yellow, and even I have tons of nasturtiums coming back, and they're doing surprisingly well in the heat also. So definitely don't forget to keep on planting the flowers for the pollinators. So they pollinate the vegetables, and you have lots and lots of vegetables in the late summer. So in this garden bed here, I have a lot of different things planted. I've got some cucumbers that I'm actually letting just kind of spill over down here as a little experiment. Rather than growing them vertically, I'm going to grow them in kind of a hanging type of way over this container. And right over here, I planted some butternut squash and some pink banana squash. They're really starting to take off with the warmer temperatures. Haven't kept these shaded at all, and they're doing remarkably well. So this is a pink banana squash variety, a really huge pink squash, so I'm looking forward to that, and then some butternut. And the red vein sorrel is really starting to come to life. This is actually a perennial green, very heat tolerant, also very cold tolerant. And I just absolutely love how beautiful these leaves are. They are just incredibly gorgeous. They're super tasty. So I've been putting these in our salads, and I'm thinking about maybe adding these to my heat tolerant green seed collection. So let me know what you think about that. Now I do have a couple of perennial herbs in here as well. This sage plant I've had in here for, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 years. I did cut it back way back, maybe a couple months ago, and it is coming back beautifully. When it blooms, it has these beautiful purple flowers. They're kind of past their prime right now, but the bees absolutely love them. And this plant is also another one of those that is so aromatic. It just smells amazing. And we love this chopped up over chicken on the barbecue. It's really good. So I think tonight we're gonna have to barbecue some chicken, Jerry. You up for that?
Sounds good.
And put some nice fresh herbs on it. So right here is the mint plant that I've also had in here for years and years. And I cut this back probably 3 or 4 times a year. You guys might have seen my videos on that. But when I cut it back, I like to cut it back before it flowers because it is a very invasive plant. And once it flowers, it does tend to drop seeds everywhere, and then I have little mint springing up everywhere, and it spreads into the garden like crazy. So I'll come in here and a lot of times just prune off the top. Sometimes I use my electric hedge trimmer for that because it's a lot easier. And then we have a lot of mint in our water, in our drinks. You can make mint tea out of it, or I'll just give it away to the neighbors as well. So it smells so good. Now, one of the plants I'm super excited about this year is right next to it here. This is a yellow Patio choice tomato, and it is a compact tomato. Again, it's an All-America Selections winner. Is really nice when you have a small area to grow in, but it's also very productive. So Jerry, if you come around the other side, you can get a really good shot of all the beautiful yellow tomatoes. I'm gonna actually harvest some today, so maybe we'll just kind of trade spots. But look at those tomatoes, aren't they pretty? They are this gorgeous yellow color. And this plant is just loaded down with tomatoes. And they're so delicious. Yellow tomatoes are super sweet, not as acidic as other tomatoes. And these are great in salads. We might even throw these on the grill tonight too. Look at that tomato, isn't that beautiful? And this is a determinate variety. So once I harvest a lot of these, it'll keep producing probably for a couple of weeks, but then the plant will start to die off. But it does tend to set all of its fruit at once and stay very compact. Now, tomato I am really excited about this year is this one right here. This is the green zebra tomato. So let me know if any of you have grown this before. It's just starting to set fruit here, and it's supposed to be kind of a green striped tomato. And I'm reading that you can tell when it's ready to harvest when it kind of gives a little bit. This one obviously is not quite ready, but it is definitely setting fruit all over the plant here. So I'm going to be shading this fruit this week because you can see some of the blossoms are starting to dry up, which happens when the temperatures get over 90 degrees. And I definitely want to keep this tomato producing, but I am really excited to harvest it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now for one of my very favorite parts of the summer garden, and that is the blackberries. You guys probably saw my video this week when I harvested blackberries and made a delicious yogurt smoothie berry bowl. And Jerry loves to take those to work. But they are looking amazing. Look at the size of these berries. I'm so excited about this, guys. I just harvested some pretty good baskets full the other day, and these are such big, beautiful berries. Wow. I'm absolutely loving these. So I think we're going to be doing some more berry smoothies in the morning, or the berry bowl smoothies. Look at these. Oh, gorgeous. They're beautiful. Now I'm really excited about these. I did prune these back this year very heavily. We had a much colder winter than normal, and I really think that helped these berries produce. Along with, of course, the regular fertilizing, which I've been really trying to keep up with these. I think we're going to be having berries here for a couple of weeks. We're going to get a really good crop this year. Maybe not quite enough to freeze because we tend to eat these really, really fast. And I saw a little strawberry back here too, in the strawberry tower. And if you guys have never grown strawberries in towers, it really works great. It keeps them up off the ground, away from the slugs and the snails. The strawberries really like the drainage. You can see there are a ton of flowers on here, which means we're going to be harvesting berries from this plant for quite a while. And I got the idea for the towers years ago from Organic's Best Urban Gardener. Here along the wall is kind of a holding area for some plants, and I really like to keep some plants here in containers. That way I can pop them into my garden beds as things die out. So I've got a lot of things here in the Calikim 5-gallon smart pots, which you can pick up on my website. This is the Paris Cause Romaine lettuce, which is doing amazing in the heat, not even shaded. It usually gets morning sun, afternoon shade, and it's really looking great here. So we'll be harvesting some of this. Let me grab some of this too, actually, for our salad. And I actually hooked all these containers up to drip irrigation. You can see here in the pot, I've got my irrigation hoses with the drip emitters. And a lot of people ask me what I connect them to. I actually have a water supply line right back here behind these containers. So Jerry, if you want to get a shot of that, I know people really like to see that. And I just have my, my little supply line. The water comes in here, goes up through here. This is hooked to my spigot and comes into my containers where I have drip emitters that help water the plants. Now I want to take you over to where I have the tomato for the Tomato Grow Off 2019. Come on over and take a look. Now remember, we made this heavy duty tomato cage for our tomato plant. This is made out of a concrete remesh. And I think, yes, we did stack 2 of them high, so it is about 7 feet tall. Super heavy duty, nice wide spaces here. You can put your hands and take care of your tomato. And we have it growing here in a really simple little raised bed that we made out of wood. Jerry and I put this together in just a couple hours, and I think it cost us under $20 to put together, so you can go back and check out both those videos. Here's my tomato here, guys. I did come through here and prune it the other day to give nice airflow on the bottom. Starting to get flowers, a couple of tomatoes. Now Gary's is loaded down. This one's going a little bit slowly, but let me show you the tomatoes in here. It's just starting to set fruit. You can see these. You guys can see these. I'll put my hand behind it to hopefully help show it a little bit better. So we've got 3 or 4, maybe 5 tomatoes. Definitely have some blossoms here. Now tomatoes are self-pollinating, so one thing that I'm going to be doing, actually I have been doing to help this tomato produce more fruit, is to shake the cage. The flowers have both male and female parts inside of them, and when you shake the cage, it kind of shakes the flowers a little bit, which helps them pollinate. Now I really do try and plant flowers near my vegetables to bring on the pollinators. So I've got the marigolds down here, and the basil has been going crazy this year. It really loves the heat. The thing about basil is you want to make sure that you're harvesting it regularly just by pinching off this top branch here. Whenever you harvest, it really helps it produce more, and you'll see brand new growth from the middle here. And you can also stick these right in water. They will root, and then you can have a lot of fresh new basil plants. Now you guys might remember from last summer our living wall videos. You can see right behind me, these trees are growing like crazy. They love the heat. I've been fertilizing them about maybe every 2 to 3 weeks with worm tea and the Good Dirt plant food. Remember when we planted these last summer? They were maybe a foot tall. They're growing up now over the fence, which is giving us some nice privacy and really making a nice green backdrop to our garden. Something I'm growing for the very first time this year upon viewer recommendation, so thank you guys so much for that, is okra. So I am really excited about it. This is a red okra, and it's a very heat-loving vegetable, so that's why people recommended it to me here in Southern California. It is growing by leaps and bounds, and I don't think I have any, well, it looks like I have a few flowers developing. It has gorgeous flowers, and absolutely beautiful, long, cylindrical vegetable that you can eat raw or cooked. So I'm really looking forward to that growing. And then all in this area here, again, a ton of flowers. Got some Shasta Daisies. I just went through and deadheaded them, so they're not in full bloom right now, but they're absolutely a gorgeous flower. And I'm not sure what this flower is called. It grows like crazy. If anyone knows what this is called, please let me know. And a lot of times I have to pull it out because it really does tend to take over. So these are some hot peppers. Jerry, do you think you can handle these tonight on the barbecue?
No.
These are super, super hot, so
Gotta see 'em hold.
I like spicy food, but I don't think I could handle these either. We'll save them for some salsa. So here along this side of the pepper planter, I've got some other hot peppers, some jalapenos. These onions have gone to seed, but I leave them in because the bees absolutely love them. These are another type of red hot pepper, not quite ripe yet. Here we have a hot banana pepper, and this is my Thai chili plant, which has been in here for a couple of years. It's looking a little bit droopy. I've got some curling leaves, which could be in response to the heat we've had. This whole area has not been shaded. I don't have enough shade cloth to shade everything, but I definitely shade what I can in the heat. The chives here, we have really been enjoying the chives. Chives are also a perennial, and the flowers are beautiful once they start to bloom. I think there's a couple down here that are just starting to open up. And I cut these all the time for salads, for omelets. So if you want a vegetable or a herb that is really hard to kill, grow chives, and they'll come back year after year. They're such an easy herb to grow. Along the front here, I am so excited about my peppers this year. This is a California Wonder pepper. It is absolutely loaded down. I've got a couple California Wonders in here. I'm supporting the peppers here with small tomato cages. So they really do need some support. You can see, here's a perfect example. This one I didn't get the cage on in time. And I just noticed this morning, this branch here broke off from all the weight of the peppers. So, this branch isn't gonna make it. So I need to come out here, and I'll probably end up putting a stake in here. These peppers, when they're ripe, are a beautiful red color. You can pick them when they're green if you want, but they definitely get sweeter once they start to turn red. And here we have the red Profusion Zinnias. You can see how well they're doing in the heat. This is definitely the hottest, fullest sun part of the garden. These came back from last year, reseeded. Aren't they absolutely amazing? I just love these flowers. If you have a full sun, hot garden, definitely head over to the All America Selections website, and you can find out where you can pick up seeds over there. So around the other side of the pepper planter here, there are some California Wonders just starting to get ripe. Again, I just can't wait to pick these. I'm gonna take one that's not quite ready so we can have it tonight on the grill. But if you're patient, you can wait till they're nice, bright red color. And I think we've got some banana peppers in here too, some of the sweet banana peppers from my pepper seed collection. Here's a nice one. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Got a nice little harvest basket going here. And back in here is some kale, which if you guys saw my heat tolerant greens video a few weeks ago, you know that kale takes the heat like crazy. Again, not shaded at all, completely still going strong. We'll pick off a few leaves here. These are great in smoothies. We eat kale salads almost every single day. And the great thing about kale is once it starts to either get bug infested, because the aphids do love the kale, or if it just starts looking a little bit raggedy, you can come in here and just chop it right down at the base of the plant and it will grow right back. Now the orange tree is getting a little bit overrun here by the scarlet runner beans, but it's definitely still doing great. The oranges are getting bigger. I think I showed this to you guys on last month's garden tour. Definitely growing, and there's maybe 5 or 6 oranges on here. It's kind of hard to tell, but man, I'm looking forward to those fresh oranges. They'll probably be ripe sometime in the fall. Now I couldn't be more thrilled with the scarlet runner beans this summer. It's probably one of my favorite crops of the summertime. I'm actually really surprised that they're holding up so well to the heat, because I always thought they were a little bit better when the temperatures are around 80 to 85 degrees, but with triple digit heats, it's still going strong. Now someone asked me if I shade my scarlet runner beans, and no I don't. It's just way too large of an area to shade. These beans, some of them are probably 12 feet tall. Now I have noticed though in the heat, I'm definitely getting some blossom drop. You can see here a lot of the blossoms are drying up and dropping off, which means these particular ones won't be producing beans. But I'm not worried about it because there's tons of beans in here and the flowers are absolutely buzzing with bees. So you want to pick the beans when they're about 4 to 6 inches long if you want to eat them for the green pod itself. If you let them get larger, for example, this one here, you can see how the beans inside are really starting to swell. The pod is probably 6 inches long. Now I do want to break this open real quick and show you how beautiful these seeds are and what you can use the seeds for. So these seeds are in my bean seed collection, and wow, are they absolutely stunning. Wait till you see these. Look at that. Aren't those gorgeous? Look at that pink color.
That's crazy.
When they get a little bit larger, they're like a stripe. There's a stripe, purple stripe on them. And what you can do with the beans now is take the beans out. You can save them to plant later, or you can dry them and then cook them up like you would pinto beans and mash them up and just eat them like that. Now a lot of people ask me how you cook these beans, and you would cook them just like you would normal beans. They're super, super tasty, one of the most delicious beans I've ever had. Just bring a pot of water to a boil, add some salt to it, cut the ends off, cut the beans in half, pop them in, boil them for about 5 minutes till they're fork tender, and they are so, so delicious. Now I wanted to show you here a tiny Tim tomato plant that is starting to die off. Perfect example of why I like to stagger my planting. So tiny Tims are a determinate tomato. It sets its fruit and then starts to die off. So don't be alarmed if your tiny Tim tomato plants start looking like this. They're a determinate plant. It's perfectly normal, but you do want to make sure you keep on planting seeds so that you have harvest into the fall. We'll just grab a few of these on our way by. These are great little snacking tomatoes. Well, my harvest basket is getting a little bit full here, so we'll head on over to the Smart Pots deck. A couple different varieties of tomatoes planted along here. Some of these I just put in, so they're a little bit small now. These are some more of the Patio choice tomatoes. And then back in here, we have the salsa garden. Remember when we planted this a couple months ago? It is growing like crazy. It's just absolutely huge and loaded down with peppers. So in here we have all kinds of different varieties of peppers, both hot and sweet, from the salsa garden collection. It's on this plant right back here. It's huge. It's a yellow, what is it? A golden Jubilee tomato actually. It's huge, but it doesn't have a lot of tomatoes on it or a lot of blossoms. So when you see that happening, it's usually a pollination issue. And again, there's blossoms starting to come out, This plant also has not been shaded in the heat, so that doesn't help either with the blossoms, but we're going to shake it to help pollinate it and hopefully get some more fruit on it. Because I want to see this loaded down with golden jubilees, because remember, Camera Guy's going to come out here and make some salsa for us. Peppers grow beautifully in containers. These are in one of the Cali Kim 5-gallon smart pots. I actually have 3 different plants in here, and you can plant peppers very closely together. These are beautiful though. These are the yellow sweet bananas. We've got to take one of these for tonight. And oh, these are so pretty. These are purple, the purple peppers, and I'm going to leave these on here a little bit longer. I want these to get a little bit larger, but they are so pretty, and I think the color contrast is just amazing here. The purple, the yellow, then the big purple smart pots back here. It's just so much fun to have color in the garden. So let me know what colors you're growing in your garden and what varieties of peppers you're growing too. Now right next to it here we have a Roma tomato, which is a great canning or salsa tomato because it is very, very meaty. Now Roma tomatoes do tend to get blossom end rot, especially when they're in containers. These ones are actually doing very, very well, but you do want to add some garden lime to your soil if that's an issue for you too. Right next to it here, some more golden jubilees. This one's looking pretty good. I think I might leave it one more day or so just to give that top area a little bit more ripeness and a little bit more sweetness. And right in front of it here, we've got an eggplant. And again, I love the color contrast with the green smart pots and the eggplant here. I really do think this one is ready. You want to pick eggplant when they're nice and shiny like this. That's really one clue. You don't want it to get bitter. And with the heat we have coming up, I think this one better go on the grill tonight too. So here are the heat tolerant greens that we planted a few weeks ago. You can go back and catch that video. These are all greens from the heat tolerant green seed collection, and unfortunately they're getting chowed down by some cabbage loopers. I came out here a couple days ago, picked off a whole bunch of them, and I don't see any here right now, but you've seen them. They're the little teeny tiny green worms, and they could absolutely decimate your plants. So you can either cover your garden bed with like a sheer fabric, a sheer curtain, or you could also spray with neem oil to help protect against them. But the kale does really bounce back, so I have no doubts that these plants will bounce right back. Now I'm really loving how the New Zealand spinach is looking. The leaves are nice and green. You can tell they're really juicy and succulent. A nice heat tolerant green. So it tastes very similar to regular spinach, and you can use it in just the same way. And so you can pick up any of the heat tolerant greens over on my website and get some seeds planted. It's definitely not too late, and they grow beautifully in the really hot summer temperatures. So we're just going to head up the hill and talk about some of the plants as we go. This is a Maura globe tomato, and not a whole lot of ripe ones yet, but they're definitely coming in. Getting pretty loaded down with fruit. This is a nice looking one here. So those will be ripening up over the next month. I'm really anticipating some late summer harvest from my garden since it was really off to a slow start with the weather we had. I love these flowers. These are cosmos. These are one of the easiest flowers you can grow and really hold up to the heat well. These are in my Bring on the Pollinators warm season flowers. Really do bring on the pollinators and reseed in the garden every single year. Speaking of pollinators, here's one right here. And I know I've got a zucchini in there. Let me just set my harvest basket down here. And we'll grab a zucchini. One of my favorite ways to eat zucchini is on the grill. They're just so amazing.
I see a huge one in there.
Oh my gosh.
It's huge.
I think it might have gotten a little bit too big. Oh wow, I totally missed this.
Yeah, you did.
I probably should have picked it a couple days sooner, but that's okay. It's going to be so good on the grill. Oh wow. This is crazy.
Let us look at it here.
And let me move the leaves aside. Look at that. It's probably about a foot long.
Okay.
Now, it's a little better if you can get them when they're about the size of the zucchini right behind it. Can you see that one, Jerry?
No, I won't be able to.
Okay, I'll show you that one in just a second.
Yeah.
Let me pull this one out. And to pick zucchini, you can either get in there with a knife, or what I like to do actually is just slowly twist the zucchini. So I'm always afraid with a knife I'm going to cut the plant, cut the stem. So just twist it here. Wow, this is really nice. And you can either make a zucchini lasagna with this, so just substitute the sliced zucchini for noodles. It's a lot healthier. But we love it on the grill. Just salt and pepper it, olive oil, put some fresh herbs on it. Jerry's been putting wood chips on our charcoal grill, and it really gives it a delicious, delicious, delicious smoky flavor. Now let me get back behind there, and I'll show you guys the smaller size, because ideally you want to get zucchini when it's a little bit smaller for the most tender flavor, and then your zucchini won't be quite as seedy. About maybe 6 inches long. So try and get them when they're a little bit smaller. But really important that you're coming out to check your garden daily, especially when they're starting to produce, because they really tend to get out of hand very quickly. Then you'll be having huge baseball bat sized. Got one more squash here to pick. This is a really fun one. It's a white scalloped squash, and these are all in my squash seed collection. This one is such a beautiful squash. I really should have a pair of scissors to pick it, but I'm just going to twist it off. It's so pretty. Look at the scalloped edges. When you slice it up and lay it on the grill in slices, it just looks absolutely beautiful and is super tender. Quick look here at this cucumber trellis. You can see it's loaded with flowers, loaded with bees. I'm loving the look of this trellis. And I just harvested a whole bunch of cucumbers for a heat wave, but we are going to have a ton more. There's lots of little babies in here. So these have been super productive. These are Boston pickling as well as Marketmore cucumbers. And I did come through and trim a bunch of the leaves here that were looking like they had spider mites. Fertilized it to get it growing again, and it is just looking great. Look at all these bees. Now here in this garden bed, I have some beans. Now beans are one of those vegetables that you can really plant all season long, once a month or so. And these are all beans from the bean seed collection. Beautiful royal burgundy purple bush beans. Look at those beautiful purple flowers. I think beans have just the most amazing flowers, don't you? So I've got some purple bush beans, some yellow ones, which are right over here, and no beans coming on yet, but hopefully in another couple of weeks we'll be eating these beans in our evening barbecue. Now along this trellis here, these cucumbers haven't done too well in the heat. You can see the leaves really got singed here. Some brand new growth at the top, so I will be planting a fresh new crop of cucumbers on this trellis to really give me some, keep the cucumber harvest going. So let me just show you guys my second competition tomato, the Yellow Brandywine. It's doing okay. It's getting really hot the past few weeks in the heat, but the Brandywine leaves are so pretty. It's called a potato leaf tomato because they look like potato leaves. And a couple Brandywines coming on here, but definitely need these to size up. Now I did see a couple of tomato hornworms in the garden. I'm not sure if they got to this plant or not, but I know they got to the plant right next to it. I picked a few off this plant. This is the large red cherry plant. It's got some nice cherry tomatoes coming on here, and they're really looking good. So please let me know what variety of tomatoes you're growing, what your favorite ones are for the season, and in the competition, how your competition is. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today in the garden for the garden tour. Let me know what parts of the tour you particularly enjoyed and what tips you found helpful for your garden. Well, Jerry and I are really looking forward to our garden barbecue tonight. You guys want to come for dinner? Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.